Well, here we are, the 70s, Paigey. 70s microphones and everything.
That's it.
I would have liked those real silver things, but no, they're gone.
In the 70s.
1970, huh? What an exciting era that was. It truly, really was. When I was a little kid, I used to sit at home in the 60s and watch the radio. Remember that? You'd sit in the corner and watch the radio because there was no TV, and you'd sit there and you'd listen to The Search of the Boomerang, Phantom and all that sort of stuff, and you go, wow. And that's what got me excited about radio. And then I'm thinking about 1963, I heard a Beatles concert broadcast in Brisbane. I think it was 4BC. And I wasn't all that excited about the Beatles. I was really excited about the guy come out and said, "Here are the Beatles," and I thought, that's what I wanted to do.
That's sad.
So I did it. That's sad, I know that's sad. But I did it. And
I helped you.
I started out in Moree, then I went to Wangaratta. My mate Billy Paige was driving through Wangaratta in 1973 or something like that and heard me, and away we went. We came over to Adelaide, and at that stage I used to, the old AM radios, you could as a kid lay in the bedroom and listen to the rest of the world, the rest of Australia. You can't do that now with FM. And I used to listen to 5KA, and I thought, that's a pretty groovy station. Then all of a sudden my mate here, Paige, come along and said, "Daisy, do you want to work at 5KA?" And I said, yes, because I went from $32 a week to about $175.
What?
It was fantastic. The 70s were brilliant. The 70s were absolutely fantastic. And there's a couple of mates here tonight I'd like to welcome from the 70s. There's Andy Boogaloo Reid. Put your hands there.
He's cheating now.
There's a whole bunch of people who
Where
are
are
here
they?
tonight.
Where are their names?
They're out there. They're out there. Look, it's all gone. The whole notes. But it doesn't matter. No, the 70s were fantastic. So I came over here in about 1973, the end of 1973. And one of the first things I remember was that Paul Thompson, put your hands together for Paul, because I believe Paul started the radio revolution in the 70s. And I remember he called me in the office once and he said, "David, I want to see you." And I went, "Oh, shit." And he said, "We've only had 5 complaints this week." And I went, "I'm going to get the sack." He said, "We need to treble them next week." So I did, and I've been doing it ever since. It's been fantastic.
And it's working well.
It is working well.
Very, very well.
My cohort in the 70s, Bill Paige, ladies and gentlemen. Bill is a legend. Bill, by the way, is also one of my mentors. So I'll let Bill have a couple of words there.
I'm proud of that, Daisy. Thanks.
Thanks, mate.
I'm very, very proud of that. 70s. During my time at KA, which was about 70 to 76-ish, we had the Constant Music.
Yes.
We had the Earth Station.
Yes.
We had the Australian Rock Station. And we had the Life Station.
Yes.
At least. And really, I mean, when you think about it, it was so bloody far ahead of its time, it wasn't funny. And because, I mean, everything about it really, I thought, was, well, not everything perhaps, but a lot of the things about it were really on the cutting edge of radio then, and probably a lot of things, particularly through that ecology time, were probably things that people are still trying to come to terms with now. We used to have Earth News, we used to have eco specials, we used to have the all of that environmental recycling stuff.
Yep.
30 years later, people are still trying to work out.
Still trying to do it.
That's right. The I Care symbol, all of that stuff. But I think the 2 things that stood out for me for that period were the people that we had there and the music. That was the thing. The sort of edgy kind of album music that Paul Thompson and Barry Bissell and Graham Berry and all of those people introduced us to. And I remember when the Constant Music chart started, we had 100 singles on the Constant Music chart, and of course in Adelaide you'd be lucky if the first 10 was selling. But the idea was we had the other 70 or 80 so that we could at least get the names known of all the stuff that we were playing. But all the people through that period, Barry Bissell, Graham Berry, Mark Roman, Warden Jeff, Chris LeMessurier, Andy Reid, as you mentioned, David Woodhall, Leon Boner,
Woody,
Laurie Bruce, all those sort of people, plus all of the people that we had in the back rooms, a lot of whom are here tonight. My pal Debbie and Sad Lisa, who's there somewhere, and all the Williams sisters, all the various Williams sisters, John Williams in the newsroom, and all those sort of people that we've worked with on and off for a long time since. Personally, for me, the things that stood out were that stinking production studio that we had.
Oh, yes. Talk about that.
It took us a long time to work out that the actual air conditioning intake for the production studio was 6 inches away from the exhaust fan of the Mission cafeteria. Very, very nice smell at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Just let me interrupt for a sec.
Fat.
Bill Paige and I used to do the production there, and we had two, I think, one-track tape recorders.
Roller 66s, mate.
Roller 66s.
Beautiful.
We had three
State of the
turntables. I'd have an elbow on one, Paige would have a finger on the other, and somebody else would hold the other, and we'd say, go! And I think we made quite amazing commercials.
Amazing.
But the problem was that because 5KA, and God bless them, was owned by the church, owned just down the road a multi-million...
Million?
Well, $1 million then, state-of-the-art system that was only used on Sunday night for the church.
Yeah, that was good. The 1 hour church service from the Morn Church every Sunday night at 7, that was a good thing, followed by half an hour with the Catholics and half an hour by the Anglicans. And then 3 hours of excess music with me and various other people.
It was fantastic.
We used to sort of try to find the most obnoxious piece of music to play right on 9 o'clock. Particularly stuff like In a Garda de Vida by Iron Butterfly, which would be nice to hear tonight.
Went 17 minutes.
Do the Strand by Roxy Music, which of course is not obnoxious at all today, but that's the case. But that Sunday night thing was pretty damn funny, I want to tell you that, and it was excellent fun as well. Of course, just like I'm doing tonight, talk way too fast for way too long with way too little to say. But nothing's changed there. Look, I just wanted to kind of, I guess, finish off by just saying that I thought that period of for my life particularly was probably one of the most exciting. I think, like you said, Paul Thompson deserves an incredible amount of credit.
Please put your hand together, Paul.
Yeah, he'll be very pleased about
absolutely.
it. Absolutely. And but he was instrumental in really setting the scene for Australian music, and by hell, how record companies would kill for a radio station today to support Australian music like 5KA used to. So I want to thank Paul for that, and also for giving me a couple of other jobs later in my life, which I needed. I guess just a couple of other things just to finish. I remember walking into 5KA, 43 Franklin Street in the 1970, and there was a lot of worried-looking people around, as there always are when long-haired kids from interstate walk into your radio station. But,
did you have hair then?
I did have hair then, yes, a bloody long time ago. I used to have a beard as well until about 5 weeks ago, but that's another story totally. But anyway, I mean, I just think that the people that kind of, there was quite a lot of people that embraced us there, and it was excellent fun. We had a good time. I'm still having a good time, but that's, I think a lot of the foundation was laid in that period. And I remember one guy in particular, I think he's already been mentioned here tonight, but Roger Dowsett was a guy that when we all wanted in, he was just such a great man.
Yes.
He just welcomed us and did so much work for us and with us, and it was incredibly sad when he passed on way too early. But I'm going to finish now. I know as usual.
And then me, eh?
Oh, you can finish if you like.
No, you go.
But I just want to mention the greatest innovation ever in radio. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Because John Williams and I laugh about it often. Ladies and gentlemen, 15:45 news. It's the way of the future. I'm telling you, it's the way of the future. The fact that everybody was running late for work because they thought it was 8 o'clock when it was 8:15, I reckon it's got a place. I reckon we should bring it back.
But the 70s was great. And I think when people asked you, what's it like to look back on the 70s and be part of radio history, we didn't realise it, did we?
No.
It was just something we did.
That's true. It was good fun.
We did.
Good fun.
It was good fun. It was good times.
It was. Thank you and good night.
Yep. So for the people who stuck with us during the 70s, thank you very much.
Okay, we're now going to move along to the 1980s. And would you welcome Ian McRae and Brent James?
Thanks, Vaughan. This is this is really embarrassing. We're just talking about this. Looking back at the 80s, we don't have any bloody memories.
None whatsoever.
It was just one big party as far as we're concerned. Certain little highlights come to mind. I'm reminded at the time we won a rating and we were all dancing in the Victoria Square fountain. That was pretty outrageous, I suppose, at the time. There was the bullfight scam, which Ian Wilson, who's here tonight, was producer of the breakfast show, and he was behind that, where we put the message out there's going to be a bullfight in Adelaide. That got out of control, went to State Parliament, then to Canberra. Questions were asked in Canberra in the House, and it led Channel 10 News that night. That was a good scam. There are many other things between the parties, Brent.
I've got a list, Ian.
Yeah?
I have a list.
Yes.
Now, you know how much preparation you did for your shift in the 80s.
Yes.
Well, I've done that much preparation for this tonight.
Right.
And I'll start at 1982. 5KA changes format.
Well, blow me down.
I think that puts the 1980s in one sentence. 5KA changes format. They went from whatever it was to 12K. I love my country. Do you remember that? Wasn't that magnificent?
That lasted about a year, didn't it?
That lasted, it says here, that didn't last long, Ian.
Oh.
5KA Suge changed back to 5KA Adult Contemporary. But anyway, it's got something here about Baz and Pilko leaving and Macca and the Fox. Highly successful breakfast program joined in 1984.
That's true, yes.
Do you remember 1984?
Vaguely, yes. And we also that year, I think, introduced Mr. Puniverse. It was a competition for the skinniest guys in the whole world. And the midday show at the time was being compared by Ray Martin, and he invited the winners every year to come on to the midday show, except for one year. It looked very close that one of the competitors who was covered in warts. Imagine these are the skinniest guys in the world. They have to strip off, and here is this guy, seriously looking like he's going to win, covered in warts. And the Ray Martin people said, if the wart man wins, this is 1 year he will not be appearing on the midday show.
Now,
luckily, he didn't win.
No, he didn't win. It's quite funny, actually, to look around the room and to walk in tonight. It's like I said to Ed Breslin, it's like walking into a time warp, but just like 14 years later. It was 14 years for me. It's a lot longer for a lot of other people. But most of the 80s lineup are here tonight. There's you. Now, Dennis couldn't make it.
No.
He's not very well, I believe. But there's Scotty McBain's coming later. Mark Pedler's on the video up there. Paul Barry's down the back of the room somewhere else. Greg Clark's over here pushing buttons and doing whatever he does. Neil Humphreys is somewhere around here as well. So most of the guys from the 80s are here tonight, which is really great to catch up with everybody. It's absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. I guess also I heard that apparently Paul Thompson's here tonight, and there was one highlight where we actually knocked off SAFM at breakfast 2 surveys in a row, and that was a very good year as well.
Well done indeed. Now,
sorry, Paul.
All right, what else we got on the list?
What happened after that?
You left in a hurry. Blakey and Stu came on board doing breakfast. Peter Kay on mornings, Neil Humphreys on afternoons. Steve Mill got pushed to mid-dawns, not my words, this paper. And Mark Pedler and Paul Barry did nights. Mark Pedler and Paul Barry did nights forever. Didn't you guys? You're on nights for like forever.
Yeah.
Now that was good fun. That was really good fun. What happened after that? General Manager Barry Mackey sacked Brecky announcer Stuart Horn and Scott McBain on the same day. Whoa. The station and the town rocked. 2 days later, the axe fell on Steve Mills, Steve Kelly and Steve McNally. The press noted 5KA's Barry Mackey's shameful silence. Do you remember any of that?
No, I wasn't here.
Fuck it if I do.
I was out of it.
We were in Studio 3 at that stage, out the back door, and I think it was called the Metro Hotel, if anybody remembers that place. So have you got any other stories to impart on the 80s, Macca?
No.
None whatsoever?
No.
Well, that was the 80s, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a great time, we think. Anyway, people are telling us tonight we had a ball. So, who's coming up for the 90s?
I don't know.
No, we don't know that either. So we'll just get down and let the 90s roll on.
Okay, 90s are coming up
Beautiful.
next.